I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged. You know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, and cross its way under your skin. Just got foul from the things they spout, and it will make you shout. Give me that good news.
And that good news is it's time for The Grounds with Giles and Jones, brought to you this morning by the amazing, wonderful support that we're so incredibly grateful and thankful for from Reese's Barkery and Patique, Reese'sBarkery.com, 815-363-7297, right over there on 1313 Riverside Drive in McHenry, Illinois. Mr. Giles, you've got stuff going on at Reese's coming up here. Am I mistaken or no?
Well, no, you are not mistaken. Next Sunday at Reese's at 1313 Riverside Drive, as you mentioned, thank you very much. We are having another adoption event and nail trimming. So I don't know how many animals we're going to have right now. We will get more details, but I know we're having a shipment come in, I think from Georgia. On like Wednesday or Thursday, so I don't know what we're getting as of yet. You can always go. The rescue that we support is called Pause and Effect. You can go on Facebook, follow them. They post pictures of the animals that are up and coming that we're going to have at the event there. So it's Pause and Effect. They are out of Lakemore. Wonderful, wonderful people over there. Go on there, check it out, see what we got coming in. And, if you're looking for another furry friend, come on, check us out. Believe the hours are going to be 11 to 2.
Exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah. I don't know exactly. I'm sure my wife may chime in here during the show and just kind of reaffirm what's going on because they're the ones that handle all the major details on that. But, yeah, come on out and see us, donate or not donate. You can donate always to them if you want, but come on out, get yourself a new furry friend if that's what you're looking for. Don't go to a puppy mill. Come out and get one that really needs the love.
No kill shelter.
Yeah, no kill shelters. Yeah. So it's Friday morning. How's everybody doing today?
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey,
yeah, superstition. We can
awesome
just tell.
Sauce.
Spooky.
Awesome sauce.
Actually, the 13th. The 13 is my favorite lucky number.
So do you believe in?
I enjoy it. It's a good sign for me. Everybody freaks out, but
no, that's what I'm saying. So are you
Friday the
superstitious?
13th has always been a good day for me.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
We had a nice Friday the 13th celebration on Mary Catherine's Power Hour playlist this morning.
Did you?
Now,
nice.
Just a quick thing, just to remind people, this is the most unique show that we have here on 216 The Net. There is a link that's posted right up on the screen. If you copy that link, put it in your URL, you then become part of the grounds.
Yeah, you can be
on the show now.
And look at that, Don just clicked.
You don't necessarily have to, have your camera. You can do it without the camera. We'd still hear you. You're still part of it. All the way from the Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth area, we got Mr. Don Stevenson. Don, how's weather down south?
As it would be expected in August. It's 98, feels like 103, basically is what they've said every day since we've been here.
As in, congratulations on the move. You got a new place. Life is good, right?
Yeah, we settled in Grapevine, Texas.
Grapevine.
Yeah, so
I heard it.
Yeah, so far so good. You heard it through the grapevine. Now you heard it directly from me. You didn't have to hear it through the grapevine. You heard it from Grapevine.
Heard it from Grapevine through the Grapevine.
That's right. So join us today. And it's just a great week. I bumped into you a couple times this week. It was a fun week. We had a good time over at Side Outs at a big mixer.
Yeah, it was a big multi-chamber mixer. That was cool. Yeah. And,
it got me thinking, with the Delta variants on the rise, and people getting worried about stuff again, is what are some things from the pandemic that you want to stick around? Like it didn't happen. Life wasn't that way. But now you're like, we could keep this, and this is a good thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a few things that I can think of. The biggest one for me is just more quality family time.
Oh, you're going family time right off the bat.
Well, I mean, that's kind of me. I mean, I'm all about family, friends, community. What else do you have?
Yeah, a lot of people have said that, sitting down and eating together again and spending time with the family
I know for some people it actually caused more chaos than not because they it's not easy for them to interact, if you will.
Yeah.
But for us, I think it pushed us in a closer direction, even though my family's always been, at least my immediate family's been very close. It also, it definitely put some challenges out there too, though. You know what I mean? Because you're
good morning.
Starting to see all the little idiosyncrasies that maybe really drive you nuts that you couldn't get away from, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I've been really blessed in that respect.
So Shayna says cleanliness. Is that yourself, or is that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm a lot cleaner now.
Right.
It's good. To kind of go with Shayna, one of the things that I really appreciate, and I hope sticks around, is I was out getting coffee this morning with some gentlemen. I enjoy going to restaurants now, and the staff is wearing face masks, so they're not sneezing or spittle.
I thought because they were just so ugly.
No, wrong mask.
That you
You
were happy.
enjoy that?
Oh, yeah.
No, that's weird.
That way they're not. When you talk, you spit anyway. So now there's not people spit on your food. There's, if they sneeze, it's in their mask. It's not on my hamburger or whatever. I like that. I don't know. That can stick around for the rest of eternity.
So with food service, I wouldn't be opposed to that for a more cleanly setting, but I don't enjoy not being able to see people's faces. To me, it's just always will be creepy.
Yeah.
It's for the sanitary reasons. I get that. I understand that. Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense, but I don't.
That's the real reason a lot of surgeons wore masks. So that if you ever sued them, you couldn't pick them out of a lineup.
Yeah, there you go.
That had nothing to do with being healthy.
That kind of goes along. Excuse me, with the cleanliness.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that is good and bad. So the bad part of the cleanliness, if you will, is so many people nonstop using hand sanitizer. Your body has good. Yeah. There you go. Your body has a lot of good bacteria on your skin, which fights off the diseases. And when you're using so much sanitizer, you're killing that good bacteria. So you actually, believe it or not, maybe killing what's initially in front of you that you wash your hands off, but you're making yourself more susceptible because you are washing off your first line of defense, which is your skin.
So you want to keep that hand sanitizer?
Yes. I don't want the hand sanitizer. No.
Oh.
I don't use it.
Really?
I do my normal. I do my normal hand washing.
The question was, what would you like to keep around?
Right. No, but I do. I have normal good cleanliness activities.
A lot of people don't.
I wash my hands.
You don't know where someone's hand has been.
But I don't.
Shaken?
I generally don't.
I always
shake someone's hand and stick my hand right to my mouth.
Way before this, I have kept hand sanitizer on my keychain.
Listen,
always.
Listen. Well, here's the deal. We were at an event this past weekend. 21/6 and I had the opportunity to MC and kind of DJ this event, and literally there is a guy standing there talking with somebody with his hands down his pants,
the backside
of his pants,
literally, not in his pockets,
just in there. They had a little circle
behind the belt, and down in the inside,
palm
the
down,
palm down,
inside
both hands.
Was this guy a mortician or something?
And it was his handshake hand.
Yeah, both hands.
See, now
were in there.
that obviously that's a very small That's a very small percent of the population that would do something. Just
Pete and I are like, is he really? And he just standing there talking like he's
like no tomorrow.
Like there's
Al Bundy.
Yeah,
just right in there, and without
digging for gold. No reservations whatsoever.
That's
there.
so that's.
So did you make Frank leave the event then?
Yeah.
No.
That's it.
So, somebody like that, obviously, I'm going to completely avoid shaking their hand.
Well, you don't.
All you can see if you're in front of him is that his arms are behind his back.
Right.
So you don't know that. That's why I carry the hand sanitizer
palm
after and shaking hands.
So, but Pete, you're a pretty well-read individual, right? So have you? And I know you read the dictionary and kind of understand words and their meanings and their origins and how to use them, type of thing. But
yes,
have you really looked at what hand sanitizer does? I'm not discounting what you do and how you feel, but you're killing your skin. Your body is your best chemistry set in the world. Like hand sanitizer. So if you're killing,
it literally does take a layer of cells off your hands.
100%, and it takes. I don't know what it
does it.
I don't know what the amount of time it takes
But
for
I'm
your
okay
actual
with
body
that.
to
If that
recoup.
means,
Listen,
well, you shed cells constantly anyway.
it takes a lot of these to get drunk.
Tim says, by the way, the sense of community and support of small businesses within it would be nice to see continue.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
100,
It's
yeah.
it's the way it's always should have been. Unfortunately, the corporate world has taken over. The corporate mentality has taken over, and making life easier, faster, simpler, cheaper has become everyone's motto. I get the dollar and cents thing from people, especially if they're, I don't want to say lower income, but just don't have the expendable income, but it should always be about family, friends, community, and that small business is community. We're the ones that actually hold the community together and make our community. And the reason people want to come, people don't come to us because of Walmarts or Kmart's or, Costco's. That's a bonus, I guess.
Shayna's, you're dead on. I absolutely love it. She's usually we're in at least a quarter hour before it takes a
12-year-old turn.
Well, she got that 12-year-old turn.
We went south quick with the hands in the pants.
The hands in the pants, yeah.
Oh, geez.
So
see, I'm ignorant to that stuff.
So I think, and a lot of people that were surveyed, one of the big things was, I love having not to wander around the store. For me, drive up shopping really works. And I think that leans more into the small business because people are now taking the time to research things online or, do things online. And now they've come back around to your point to say, oh, let's support the little guy. They could be going out of business instead of, it's just real easy to run into the big box store.
Or order through Chewy.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of people. And if any one of our customers are out there listening, thank you for just, patronizing any store, any small business. Yeah. But the amount of people that we get coming in that say, I didn't even know you guys were here. We found out about you guys, how they found out about us, and we really want to support you. We didn't think there was anyone around, and that's huge, because
and that sense of community, I think. And Don, you can speak. You've been down in Texas now for a little bit, but you also traveled to Texas quite a bit for your job. That sense of community, I think, after a year of lockdown, a lot of people took for granted and said, "Man, you know what? These community events or these things, we've got the Rise Up event coming up pretty soon.
Yep.
We've got Blues, Brews, and Barbecue coming up
this
August
weekend.
20th, right?
That's coming up this coming week or next weekend.
Next weekend,
right? Is Blues, Brews, and Barbecues over at Peterson Park.
Yeah.
That end, Kent, I think what came to mind when you asked the question kind of goes along those lines. It's what I hope continues is a little gratitude and appreciation. A lot of times the old adage, you don't appreciate something until it's gone.
Right.
And I just hope that going forward, we appreciate the things, the opportunities we have to do those things. And whatever the things are that you lost during the pandemic that were painful for you, maybe we'll all have greater appreciation and gratitude for those things in the future when we maybe took them for granted in the past. So I'd love to see, because I always say, man, if everybody's walking around with gratitude, we're probably going to be in a pretty good place.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, one of the other things that, between myself and my family and, some of our friends is, just the sense of, getting outside and really enjoying the simple things.
Yeah.
Right. Because we couldn't go to the movies, which, or you couldn't go to a restaurant or whatever. So, like us, we took it upon ourselves. We started doing a lot more hiking and biking and, boating when time allowed. Life is too short to get out there and actually enjoy. I was reading last week, I think it was, about the actual health benefits of literally just sitting in a grassy area, not necessarily going someplace that's out of the way. Grounding. Yeah. If you're walking around your bare feet, there's actually the energy that comes up that, all the crud that actually disappears, leaves your body through your feet. There's all kinds of different things that you do that gets rid of toxins and crap and all the negative, I'm going to say energies and stuff in your body. But standing in your bare feet in your yard is a pretty amazing thing. If people don't realize it, we wear stuff that's been manufactured that has chemicals and, for hours a day, your socks, your shoes, your clothes, you're washing them in detergents. I mean, your body has no time to detox. Getting out in nature, sweating. I mean, You know, I know some people don't like to do that, but getting out in nature and literally just, I mean, I can feel my blood pressure drop
Get out in nature
the second I get out there.
Scott,
nature from the window. I'm good with that.
Yeah, Scott, you enjoy it up there because that's one advantage you have there is out here you're walking on short Bermuda grass, you're fighting off lizards and fire ants. So,
right, and that and that's, I mean, and that comes down to the gratitude, right, Don? So
Yeah.
I wake up every day. I don't wake up awesome. I don't know why. I'm not quite sure, but I do. I wake up every day kind of just already anxious as hell and ready to kind of do things and stuff. But then when I can kind of slow myself down and really look out and go, you know, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the drive into work. I mean, when I'm up on top of the hill, I can see for, you know, a mile or two and you can see all the trees and like maybe the Fox River. And it's just, you just don't realize actually how beautiful things are until you get that potentially taken away from you and then stop and take it in.
Yeah.
Here, Shayna says, I like knowing where my neighbors stand on personal liberty, guns, race, and such. I would like to see ongoing conversations on topics that used to be more reserved before this mess started. You know what, Shayna? I agree, right? So, and that's kind of where I fall in. The guys always call me because I like to go deep, so to speak. You know, getting the girls don't mind, but you know, getting to know your neighbor. I mean, you live next to them, so at least get to know them, so you know where you're at. Hopefully, you guys can find a common ground to enjoy each other. Hopefully, you're not too far off the radar from each other. But getting to find out who they are, what they are, where they're from, what they like, what they believe in, and you know, a good sense of community and help. I mean, God's sake, how many people do you know that live next to somebody and have never even really chatted with them? And Pete's raising his hand. That's crazy. This person is the closest person.
I don't want to know who they are.
Listen,
you don't want to know. You don't want to potentially know that your neighbor could be completely crazy or something super helpful.
If they stay in their yard, I stay in my yard. I'm good.
Let me draw a picture for you.
I'm going to draw a picture. I'm freaking out.
Pete is that weird neighbor. They've got Mary Catherine's Power Hour playlist going round the clock. Their windows are vibrating because she's banging her head. And you got the guy who, you know, the creepy Uncle Pete who just, you know, comes out in his bathrobe, picks up his paper and goes back in, doesn't say two words.
Now, he is the crazy neighbor.
So hold on. So they're both giggling. If you're not watching us, which you should, you guys should click on the link and join us. This is really a good, fun, interactive hour. But if you're not watching us right now, I'm not sure how to take either one of you guys right now because you know, and I get that people want to stay to themselves to a certain point, but if you live next to somebody, should you at least not have a general basic understanding and knowledge of them, because you may need to help them someday. They may need to help you someday.
A wise man once
I lived for 17 years in between two neighbors across the street from others. I knew as little about them as possible.
Why?
None of your business.
It's not. It has nothing to do with your business or not.
Professionally, I live an extremely public life. I am public here. I am public through the day job. I am everywhere, all over the place. When I go home, I don't want to see other people. I don't want to talk to other people. I want to be left alone.
That I understand. But not knowing them, at least, you know, introducing yourself at one point. Hey, I'm Pete. This is me. I work a lot. I freaking hate people. So when I come home, if I don't wave to you and say I'm going to take your garbage out, they understand that. But for me, nothing upsets me more, which is, you know, like you come home, you see your neighbor come home. I live in a decent neighborhood, you know. The person comes in, they open up the garage door, and they go in and they close the garage door, right?
Yeah.
And it's like no interaction. No. Now, if you come to me and say, hey, Pete, or hey, Scott, I'm Pete, you know, I'm a Pisces and I like to dance and stuff, but I hate people when I'm off of work, so don't take it personally. When I come home, I want to be by myself, right? So then I understand that we're on a common ground, but
why I feel absolutely no obligation to do that. By the way, I'm a Capricorn, not a Pisces.
Yeah, but it's like, hi, I'm Pete. This is Mary. Your name? Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. I'll have you guys over for dinner.
Yeah, but you know what? You hear his name, then you also. So here's all right. So with that being said, with today's technology, you can go online and be like, okay, Jeffrey Dahmer, what's this crazy bastard all about? So at least you.
Oh, you're a
don't
creeper.
Don't you? Oh, I'm not. I don't. But don't you? I mean, here's the thing. Don't you want to know who you live next to?
No.
You don't want to have any clue who you live next to. I think that's the
don't care.
craziest thing ever. How do you know you're not living next to a Jeffrey Dahmer?
Doesn't matter.
Because I'm still alive.
That's right.
And as
But
far
don't
as
you? But if you are living next to somebody that has a past that you could find out with our wonderful technology today,
everybody has a past.
Ignorance is bliss.
Everybody has a past.
A dangerous
Who cares?
past. I don't know. I want to know, at least on a minimal level, who my neighbor is, where they're not, kind of like where they're from, what they're all about. I don't have to be their friends. I don't have to hang out with them. I don't have to watch their kids.
No.
But I want to know who they are, kind of what they do, and just cordial. I mean, that's the thing with the world today is people are just fucked.
As I
don't
get
want
to
to talk
know
to anybody else.
like I like hanging out with you.
That's strange, but thank you.
Well, I mean, Kent, Don's an amazing fellow. All
He's
these
bullshitting
people who
you
are
down
wonderful.
until you send him some money.
Well, Don still owes me $5 from that time he bought me lunch. So I left the tip. I left the tip. He was I'm kidding.
I don't know. His math is weird.
Seriously?
That is weird.
Don did buy me lunch before. I remember that, Don. Thank you very much.
You were very uncomfortable with it. I recall that.
I was. That made me. I was.
Look at Tim, right?
But at any rate, what does Tim say? We just found out that my neighbor has a dog after 10 years of living next door. My neighbors have just found out about my passion for music, specifically
They've
drums.
had the dog for 12 years.
See now, so Tim,
it's a good dog if they're not out barking.
Well,
That is a good dog.
So I mean, I don't know. It just boggles my mind. For one, not knowing they have a dog.
Yeah.
Right. Because at some point the dog's going to bark. I mean, if you're never home,
Listen,
I mean, I get it, but
a fence makes a good neighbor.
if you want to, I get being a private person. I do totally get that, especially if you're an introverted person, right? You don't want that, but at the same token, like you want to know where you're at, where you're around, what's going on around you in your space. So to me, that's just hard. If you don't get along, that's one thing, but not knowing what or who lives next to you or around you, what your circumstances
Listen,
are.
I've got a neighbor.
To me, it's just it's tough.
We've been in the
absorb.
house since 2003, so we've been there for 18 years. The neighbor who lives immediately to our right, Jack, he's been there longer than we have. He was he worked for United for years. He's retired now, and we know a lot about him. We don't say, but 6 words every time we see each other. But when you live next door to somebody, you just kind of know. And the Ben, and I don't even know Ben's wife to the left of us, young couple just had their second child. All I know is that they've got chickens that Ben hates and I hate because they stink. And
that's a different story.
Right?
That's a little bit different.
I say hi to his wife. If I see her or whatever, I know their dog's names. I don't know her name.
Right, it's not that
They've
you
lived
have,
there 5, 6, 7 years.
not that you can become intimate with the
That's
people,
Ben's wife.
but
Yeah,
Don, Don has waving hands.
Oh, hi, Don.
I just wanted to chime in. I think that because I have found that to be a weird phenomenon. There's a great bit that Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian, does about 20 years ago when the doorbell rang at 7 o'clock during a weeknight and you ran to the door excited versus now if the doorbell rang at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, it's turn off the lights. Who did you invite? What's going on? Don't answer the door. And I think also, Pete, one of the things that has driven think back to neighborhoods you lived in when your kids were young. Boy, it seemed like the neighbors were way more connected when the kids are younger than when
it's a village. It takes a village to raise your kids, and that's the way I grew up. I didn't.
Well, I don't buy into that, but the kids are playing together is what brings people together.
Right, the kids are playing together, so the parents get together, chit chat. They become like their own little watch group. I mean, so like when I was growing up, we walked away from the house
leather
nonstop.
belt is what it takes to raise
right, and you had people looking out for each other. Today, everybody's all about themselves, and that's why the road's becoming the way it is.
I will agree with Don on that to a point because when our kids were little, we knew the people across the street, 2 doors down, and catty corner across the street because they all had kids that our kids play with, so we knew them. We didn't we weren't friends. We didn't.
Yeah, you weren't hanging all the time.
But we knew where our kids were. We knew where their kids were, and if the kids were well behaved, we had a pretty good idea that the parents were probably okay.
An idea that at least you had an idea, right? You have with people obviously here Kelly just posted and she says, "But do you really know that just because they say I work at a grocery store doesn't mean they are a drug lord?" And you're right. But here's the thing also, and that's another reason to actually
I prefer
in my mind, be able to talk to people and be able to understand and read people.
Grocery stores get paid pretty
I
well
tell
when they're
my
driving
neighbors-
Bugattis. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right. But
I
I mean,
tell my neighbors I'm in route sales and I'm in a multi-level marketing. That's why so many people just drop over for a few minutes and leave.
Yeah, they don't talk to you after that, do they?
Product. That's what I say.
right. And that's the thing is everybody is so becoming disinvolved, right? Personally, or physically, but they'll be on their phone right away, checking people out, looking at things.
Yeah.
You know. So, and in the community in which you live, would you not want to know that where you live, at least have a finger on the pulse of who, where, what, why is in your
really-
general
Hey,
vicinity?
Scott. Memo to Scott. Pete's answer is no.
Okay.
My house is fully armed.
You're trying hard. I appreciate it.
Okay. Your house
I am
is
so much a public person, and I am very extroverted.
right.
So when I go home, that's my recharge time, my quiet time. I have waved to the people across the street. I have waved to the people to the side of us on either side, and I've waved to the people behind us.
Right.
That's it. I will
But
not
you don't
be-
know them?
No, I don't
See,
want
so-
to know
so-
them. I don't care.
Listen, our neighborhood is like King of the Hill. We'll just all go stand out in the street and drink beer. That's my neighborhood. We've lived there 18 years. We know everybody. The Ottos just moved out, and some new folks moved in. What does my wife do? She goes down, introduces herself, takes them a peach pie. I don't know if she took them a peach pie. It just sounded very cleaverish of me to say that.
Sure,
With
why
the
not?
beaver.
And she comes back. She's like, "Oh, this is Mike and such."
Or you know what they're doing? I don't want to talk to them.
I acted interested, like, oh, okay, Mike and such and such, and I'll never remember her name, but I got like 22 friends who are named Mike, so that's really easy for me. But when I drive by to them as they're unloading their trucks and stuff, I wave to them. But my wife is like, oh yeah, so they own a townhome in McHenry they've been living in. Now they're renting it out. They're moving in the townhome.
She knows their whole life right away, right?
Plus two storage containers. Oh, they're gonna be doing
So maybe too much information too quick, right?
No, not for me. I'm like, all right, cool. Well,
Right.
I'm a salesman, so I'll take two of those pieces and and go, oh, you guys, So you need a mortgage?
So what else are you guys hoping continues from the pandemic?
Yeah.
No more hugging.
Obviously not this conversation.
You know what? It's funny that we stumbled on it because I actually do. I am very. You can tell I'm very.
He's fired up
about this one. Well, because think about it. When you go out into, you say human interaction is one of the things that a lot of people missed, right? But that's human interaction of the people closest, not necessarily friends, but somebody that you should at least know. Maybe not be friends, but know them and interact with them on a very mild basis, right? So at least Pete, hey, he's coming home because he doesn't want to deal with people because he deals with them all day long. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't want to know Rocco living next door, because what if you need help from Rocco?
It doesn't mean you don't want to know. It's fine for him. So
Right.
That's a lot of the passion that you have is like, I can't wrap my head around I know all my neighbors, right? But like I said, I don't know the neighbors'
Not that you have to hang out with them.
Jen, I don't.
Not that you hang out with them, just knowing them, and hey, you're a human being. You're important to me. If you need something and I can help you, give me a holler. Otherwise, leave me alone.
And that's very, very. I will smile and wave.
Cordial.
I will
That's
be
fine.
cordial. But I'm not going to go introduce myself. I don't want to know who they are. They don't need to know who I am.
So you have someone that moves into you're across the street. You're not going to say, "Hey, my name's Pete, and this is Mary Catherine."
Not at all.
All right.
If
So
I
what else
see-
I like from the pandemic?
Here's the thing, though. If I see that they're moving in,
Yeah.
and they're struggling with something, trying to get it in, I'll run over and help them lift something. I'm still probably not even going to introduce myself, but I'll say, "Hey, you need some help?" I'll do that because that's happened.
And they're
before.
like, "Yeah, could you go put
That's
some
just a
pants on? Why are you in a row?"
Yeah, that's just the neighborly thing
and
to do, brother.
that's happened before too. So
That's just a neighborly thing
In
to
the
do.
middle of the afternoon,
Right? So what you're saying, you're going to run over there and help them lift something, but then you're just going to leave.
Yeah.
At least you're going over there to help them, right? So, and that's part of what's the world that's kind of depressing to me is everybody is becoming so much just their own life that they're not sharing their life, their love, experience.
And I don't know if you've experienced this yet or not being on the station, but I know Kent has. I get it. wandering around out here, I get, hey, it's Uncle Pete. I don't know who these people are.
I know that voice.
I know that voice. How do I know loaf guys?
I was actually having lunch yesterday, and that's what the Sophie, who was waiting the table, they were not wearing masks at this particular restaurant. That she goes, why do I know you? Why do I know you? I said, well, I do a lot of things. She goes, no, I know that voice. Why do I know that? And I'm like, maybe I'm in your dreams, young lady.
right.
And she threw up. And then
right.
Well, Don, Shayna has a question for you there. Do you feel a difference in the vibe in Texas as far as the general conversation?
Well, I can't say I've had very many conversations. Kind of to your point, Scott, though, we moved in, I don't know, a week and a half ago. We've not had one neighbor come over and say, hey, welcome to the neighborhood, which used to happen. Just people did it all the time. And so I think that's a normal thing.
They're like, he didn't unload a bunch of guns.
Them
liberals.
So Don, let me ask you this. You're as far as I know, I mean, obviously we don't know each other super well, but are you a people person?
Oh, duh. Just a bit.
All right. So I just have to ask because I don't want to. So how does that honestly make you feel?
Well, it's kind of one of those things where I feel a little bit neutral about it. I mean, there is a part of me that thinks that's sad because it is so different from what I remember when we were younger and parents knew each other. And to your point, the support people could give one another is not there. So I'm kind of saddened by that element. It might be I'm just kind of, I'm expecting of it now, Scott. It's like just people don't do it. And So, and again, have I done anything yet to reach out? No, not yet. Other than, we'll have the moving truck move since it's blocking your driveway. That's the one conversation I've had with a mover or with a neighbor so far.
First of all, they knew he was a Yankee because he didn't have a dually pickup down in Texas. You got to either have a BMW or a dually.
Or a dually, and I don't have either.
You don't have either. They're like, he's obviously not a Texan.
But I do think, to Shanna's question, just in early indications, I think where you guys live, where I used to live up there in the McHenry area, people are always friendly. And I think that's very consistent down here. People are friendly. Pete, I'm so tired of people already coming up to me on the streets of Grapevine saying, don't I know you from 21-6 the net? It's just happening way too much.
I'm telling you, that would be the case.
For you people down in Texas, you heard it through the Grapevine.
That's right. But I think it's similar. I'm not noticing any vast difference. I think it's still kind of the Midwest, so I don't think there's a big difference.
When Don fires up that pizza oven outside,
then I might get some neighbors coming over.
I'm like, hey,
all right.
Hey,
so you're new to the area, Don. I don't know who you know down there, and if you have friends. I know you said there's some family there, right? But doesn't that make you feel isolated? I mean, the whole idea is called a community,
right?
Right. It's called a community because it takes a bunch of people coming together for common goals and interests and.
And I think, Scott, we'll see more of that. It's kind of it's the backwards of living in Illinois. Right now, when it's 10 below outside, not a lot of people are hanging outside. When it's 98, 100, 102, not a lot of people hanging outside.
Your summer is our winter. I get that. No, I know.
When we get to October, November, I think people will be outside more. I'll probably make more efforts. So I think it will happen, but you're right. But an example, though, of how even just in 20 years things have changed, or 24. We lived in Texas 24 years ago. Already had dinner with one of our old neighbors, and they're planning on getting maybe at least a half a dozen couples, maybe 4 or 5 couples from our neighborhood from 24 years ago over to their house for dinner to kind of do a mini get together. And that's from 24 years ago. But again, our kids were younger. We interacted with more of the neighbors. And what's interesting in Dallas, which is kind of cool, is in my neighborhood, this isn't true. In a lot of neighborhoods in Dallas, the garage is through an alley in the back. So people tended to sit out on their front porches, patios. And so it was easier to meet people. So that, I think, was also just kind of an odd phenomenon where people would be sitting out front rather than out back sometimes, and got to know each other better. But yeah, just in that 24 years, I mean, I may see old neighbors from 24 years ago sooner than I meet my new neighbors right next door.
and that sucks.
It's kind of weird. I agree. I think it's kind of weird.
I'll stay in mine. If we meet
if
meet in the road, that's fine.
Well, if nothing else, just, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the neighborhood. If you ever need anything, give us a holler. You may never speak another word after that, so to speak, which sucks.
Right.
At least, hey, how are you doing? You see who it is. You know who's next door. You know who generally belongs there, doesn't belong there. I mean, especially if you have kids. Holy Christ. You know, hey, I've got 3 kids. I love guns. You mess with my kids, I kill you type of thing. I mean, let the people know where you stand.
Let them know, huh? Yeah, and Shanna's asking me about, Northerners moving down to Texas. Shanna's asking if they appreciate the Northerners. And in very simple terms, all they ask, and I will be the same way, is don't bring the politics from the place you came from to Texas. That's the number one thing you would hear if you moved from Illinois to Texas. Welcome, just don't bring that garbage with you.
That's right. So,
which makes sense,
right? So, to me, your neighborhood's your neighborhood. You always know where the cat lady lives, or your rock and roll people with 22 dogs, whatever the case may be. You know that, and you're like, yep. And now you can go online and look at Watchdog and go, yep, don't go by the blue house because he likes to touch little kids, right, or whatever. So there's a lot of things that you can do online, and the beautiful thing about your neighborhood is it is your neighborhood. If you don't want to talk to somebody, whatever, you stay in what goes on in your house goes on in your house. I don't need to know what's going on in your house. I could care less. If it starts to affect my yard, if that tree,
here's a perfect example. Shayna says you should know when there's $2.2 million in product next door.
Why?
Right. Well, she said that they moved in. If you go up, you scroll back, she was talking about that they had a grow house living next to her.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the SWAT team also.
But you should have known way before that something
wasn't also
out here though
also crashed into the Griswold house.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, out here though, you're like, if the SWAT team shows up, you're likely to get folks like me running out asking if they need a little extra help, just because it looks fun. So
yeah, but
again, why are you in your robe?
Fun. Yeah, why are you in your robe again?
He's in his robe
when all the dirty,
y'all need a little help.
All the dirty laundry sitting in his kitchen. They think someone's dead. Right. But you would, if you had even just a basic knowledge of your neighbor, because people pay attention to whether they say it or not. When they come, when they go, what kind of vehicles they drive, what they dress. If you're paying attention to this stuff, why not just get a little bit of interaction with them and get a feel? Yeah, and get a feel.
Yeah,
for what's door shit. Right.
I mean,
well, here's part of the thing for me too. Okay, I'm married to Mary Catherine, my absolutely wonderful, amazing wife, who has extremely
be right back
severe social anxiety. I can count on one hand the number of just family gatherings we've hosted at our home. That's family on one hand in the last 30 years that we've been together.
That you guys have at your house.
Yes, that we've hosted where her family comes or mine has come.
Right.
And I still have fingers left over on one hand. We just don't, again, because my life is so public outside of home, and I meet amazing, wonderful people. I'm not anti-people at all. People that I've met are absolutely fantastic. Everybody who listens to the station is wonderful. And it is, while it's a little creepy when strangers go, Uncle Pete, or hey, I hear that, I know that voice. Mm-hmm. It's a little creepy, but it's also a little fun too, because people are listening.
Right. They know you're listening.
And then via the chamber, I can't tell you how many amazing, phenomenal people I have got to meet through the chamber up here. Don, that looks fantastic.
Nice
that looks fantastic.
It's a towel coat.
For you people not watching the show, one of our listeners, Don, just came out with his robe because apparently
in honor of Pete
with robes.
And, Pete thinks a robe is a kilt.
None of his neighbors know that, though, because he hasn't met them.
Pete thinks a robe is a kilt, and the way it opens is different than a kilt. So trust me.
And I like a little extra breeze.
That's it. So Here, we're going to go back to a couple things on what you want to keep around. It's good. I love that you're passionate about your neighborhood and your community. You do you, and that's the best thing that I like about what happened with this pandemic is you do you, I'll do me. Quit judging me. It's cool. Kind of to what Shayna said. Now it's like, well, now we've had some conversations that I know where you stand, but now I don't necessarily hate you or fight against you. It's just now we're having good conversations, which was lost. The other thing I really enjoy and I find just fascinating is outdoor dining. The health department would come in and say, you can't eat out in the parking lot. Well, we put this little pop-up tent over these tables. Oh, well, then shit. Yeah, you're good. Come on.
Indoor now.
Right. So I enjoy that because I'm an outdoors person. I would prefer to be outdoors. I sit in my backyard all the time. We eat out on our deck all the time. If I can be outdoors, I would rather be outdoors, right? That's just who I am. So now if I don't have to sit in a booth, squeeze in and hear you coughing behind me or farting or whatever the case may be there, and I can be outside eating in a parking lot, I'm okay with that.
Well, I like that. I've always been a proponent for outdoor.
Yeah.
You ask my wife, she'll tell you. I would prefer to be outdoor. I like to be around people, but I would prefer to be in an outdoor location. Yeah. I'm just outdoorsy.
You scroll down Green Street. Even the Santos agency has a couple of chairs out front now. It's just
Well, Fantasy Factory has 2 chairs out. Pete and I sat out in front of Fantasy. Was it 2 years ago now?
Has it been that long?
People thought I was a little creepy, but when we first started really getting the store rolling, and
that was because of the shape of the chairs.
But I sat out in front of my store reading a book until I have a customer. And Pete showed up one day. We sat out in front of the store, which is good for you, buddy. You know what I mean? Because it's just another store. It's just another way people communicate. It's just
I long for the day in December or January where I join you guys on the show from my patio.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're up here.
I'll go stand outside, dude. I ski, I snowboard, I skate, I play hockey. Well, not so much hockey anymore, but snowmobile.
And to go back to Shayna's earlier point too. She loves the zero commute. So
the zero commute, obviously.
I think working from home is cool, and I will go out on my deck, and I can still grab Wi-Fi out there, and I'll work. If I'm working from home, especially during the nice days, I'm outside.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there under the shade of a nice elm tree.
That is probably one of the best things
it's awesome.
For our world is that, they can work remotely where there's not as much traffic, where there's not as much fossil fuels being burnt, where you're not coming home stressed out of your mind because you're spending 2-3 hours a day in your car driving back and forth to work and having to deal with the people that really suck at driving.
In juxtaposition about what I've just been talking about my neighbors and being at home, I actually like having someplace to go when I'm going to work.
Well,
I love coming to the studio. I love being here. I like going to an office at the chamber. I like and I have my own office and studio at home, but I only use it when I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Same here. Same here.
I like to actually have a place to go.
Right.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, Pete, I'm kind of with you too, Pete. One of the things that's going to be a personal challenge for me is I did enjoy going to the office every once in a while. And strangely enough, I had an hour commute when I went to my office. I always say I really, really enjoyed the morning ride. You could listen to radio. It's one of those few times you're alone. And I never liked the ride home because you just want to get home. But I love the idea of the zero commute. I certainly appreciate it. But I think we don't want to lose sight of the value of that personal one-to-one interaction. I think what we're going to see a lot of companies do is, 2 days in the office, 3 days in the office,
hybrid,
and find that balance because I think there's value in both. And I hope one of the things that continues is we find a good balance between those two rather than one or the other extremes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you do miss out a lot of the community or a team, with your colleagues, that team building when you're separated.
Well, just actual interaction with other human beings. Yeah. Zoom meetings are nice to a certain point. Well,
they were fun at first.
Right, but I can't hug Pete on Zoom.
Right.
But so the Zoom meeting
is absolutely fine with me.
Well, the one thing for me is the Zoom meeting realistically can get in there, get it in, get done, and be done with it. You don't have to drive in. You don't have to everyone worrying about being late or anything like that. You check in, you check out, you get moving. So it has made things a little bit more efficient. Yes, less personal in some respects, but that's definitely a better a help, if you will. There's never going to be any substitution for actual personal interaction. Going to the office and having the water cooler conversations.
But I will say this: I am probably more productive when I work from home than I am from the office.
Less distractions.
A lot less. At first, it was tough
there's a lot to be said for
because the refrigerator was always calling my name, like, "Oh, hey, I've been working for an hour.
Right.
Let me walk by the refrigerator." Oh, no, nothing's changed
if
in
they
there.
Can make this work, if they can make it work and do a hybrid thing like that, that's the best of all worlds, because then you do have that time where you're on your own doing your thing, a lot less distraction, not worrying about the corporate culture nonsense where they're having meetings about meetings, to plan meetings, and
the social distancing, I think, is fantastic.
Oh, I love that.
Physical distancing.
No, it's
whatever, social, physical, whatever you want to call it.
It's social.
I love physical.
I loved the thing of people staying 6 feet, 10 feet. Lay the frick over there. That was wonderful.
I mean, if you go to the store now, you don't have those
that.
two people clogging up every aisle as they're chatting.
Yeah.
They just walk together and shop. Why do you go in the opposite directions, and then every aisle you stop? Can I get by? What the hell? What's going on, right? So it's social distancing, because now people don't look at you. They don't say hi. They're like, oh, yeah.
Well,
we got close.
To me, it's wonderful because I'm not a social shopper. I want to go in, get my stuff, get out. Now, that's another thing I hope stays forever.
Yeah.
Curbside pickup, or in the spot. You order your stuff, you go, you pop your trunk, they bring it out, they close your trunk for you, you go on your way. That's how shopping should have been for the last 100 years.
Well,
that's
they used
wonderful.
To do that. Grocery stores used to have, hey, you pull your car up, we'll load it for you.
That as a kid, man.
Yeah, they used to
have
have
that was one of my first jobs.
Which I like too. It's like, hey, zip, bang, boom. I pull up, pop the trunk, you throw it in, I say thanks and roll out, right? And for the most part,
that was the first thing that went self-serve, and now the checkout's gone self-serve.
Yeah. Now what I would like to see,
you go in the store, you got to actually become an employee.
What I would like to see is, the gas station guys coming out to pump again.
That would be great.
Would be nice.
Wouldn't that be great?
Should we open up a gas station that has pumping gas?
Full service?
Full service station.
That was great.
Ding, the guy comes running out.
How much? Fill her up, Jimmy.
Hood,
can you fill me up with that high test and check the oil?
Yeah.
Wash my windows. That was the day, man.
Did you pay 10 cents a gallon more for that?
Absolutely. I know my wife would. My wife hates to
which would mean it'd be $18 a gallon here in Illinois.
My wife will run almost out of gas before she's like, ask me or my son to get gas, or if we say no, she'll get it.
Yeah, no, that's a
I'm a little low. I don't like getting gas. I don't like it. It's such a chore to me.
Well, that's where I use the hand sanitizer after I'm done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to, because have you ever grabbed a freaking hand pump and there's some kind of gooey crap on there, and you're like, oh my god.
Pete, we don't like it when you get gas either.
Yeah, nobody does. It's a bad day all the way around.
Yeah, the renewed gratitude for what was once mundane, shooting hoops at the park, shopping with a naked face. I hope I can remember to always be grateful. Yeah,
that's huge.
That is, and that's, and I couldn't agree more with Shana. You gotta have that gratitude every day. The kids here in Illinois are getting ready to go to school on Monday. And it's a full mask mandate. And we talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. I tell my daughter who's going into 7th grade, like, you got to remember that. But if they get rid of this mask mandate, you have to then again be very, understand not to cough on people or cough in your hand.
Common courtesies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there is, and the gratitude, that is once the mundane is, those simple things.
Yeah, no, it's huge. You should be grateful. Cool. They're going back to school. Yeah, and they can be pissy and negative that our wonderful mayor or governor says wear a mask that's going to do nothing for you, so you can breathe shit all day long.
It's not necessarily the governor. I mean, of course, that we can get into that, but the Illinois Department of Health has come out with that. He's just supporting their guidelines. So it's the thing is, the thing that I would like to see go away, that it would be why everything is a political conversation.
Right.
Why can't going back to knowing
please,
where your neighbors stand is, hey, your dog Pete shit over the line into my yard. Well, it's because you're a Democrat. What?
Right. Well, I mean, that's something that's something I could definitely live without.
Yeah.
My dog knows. He knows those leftists and liberals are
Well, why did you put up "Make America Great Again" in that pile?
Right. That's the one thing that I actually really would like to forget about this whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, so to speak. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, liberal. If you're a human person and you want what's best for your family, your friends, your country, your community, go with it. Tell me how you feel. Make me think about something from maybe a different standpoint. I might not agree, but at least I think about it. We can walk away going, you know what? Here's good points, not necessarily what I really subscribe to, but good points and a different way to look at it, and be grateful that person is like that and not a zombie. Like, all these people that are getting all the free money. Yeah. I get it. I don't have to think. Why do I think? They just give me money. I stay home.
The best thing that I will continue to do that I got during this pandemic is I got off of social media. And my life has not been less stressed, less anxiety ridden. It's amazing how many stupid people I don't have to deal with on a daily basis. Yeah. We do it for the show, of course. It's the only time for
station
work.
And work. Yeah. This is really all I use it for, unless you follow me on TikTok.
Yeah, I love your TikToks.
Yeah. They're stupid.
Well, yeah, that's why I love them.
Entirely stupid.
But that's the kind of guy I am. I like to not have to think about things. I love that you showed us you were getting dressed and making coffee and getting on the air the other day.
Getting on your robe.
Hanging out in the robe.
Like, who cares?
Right, and that's what I love about it.
Who freaking cares?
And that's where I've turned most of my my media to is TikTok. These people are brilliant on TikTok. There's a lot of stupid things too, but these people are absolutely brilliant with the videos that they make, and it's awesome.
The quality of some of those is just mind blowing.
But the nice thing is, to me, and what I want to see going forward, I think a lot of people are now starting to question the news, starting to question, where am I getting this information from?
Question everything.
And going, wait,
that's my life motto. Question everything. Just because someone says it, just because one person says it's true or whatever,
so I
doesn't mean it's right. Yeah, I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Now, more and more people are starting to question everything and not just say, oh, they said it, this is what matters. I just had a conversation with a friend. One of my friends I've been friends with for 45 years, 46 years.
Wow.
We lost contact for, quite a while. They're raising the kids, as happens, you know what I mean? We had a conversation the other day, and it was just like, he started giving me crap for my beliefs. And I said, fine. He could see I was getting a little upset. I said, I appreciate your information. I said, I looking at things differently. You're making me think about it from a different standpoint, but he started you could see almost starting to judge me. I'm like, dude, don't judge me. My life is my life, and I do what's right for me, my family, and my community, and I'm not judging you. I'm actually happy that you're saying these things to me, because now I'm throwing back at you what somebody's probably afraid to say to you, because they don't want to, because he's very confrontational. He's very confrontational. I told him, I said, this is not an attack on you personally. I said, but think about it from this standpoint.
Yeah.
What you're telling me is what this news station is telling everybody, but then if you switch to this news station, it's different.
Right.
So why is that? Have you done your own research? Have you done your own? Yeah, we're not open. Have you done your own research to come up with a valid?
Oh, we have to start the show over. Yeah, we've been closed
the
entire time.
What's your best thing? Folks. What's the best thing to come out of it?
Let's talk about it.
But the social distancing, the shopping, and I love the fact that I have had to do very little fending off of the huggers.
Yeah.
I'm not a hugger. I do not like it. And it's been very, very rare that I've had to fend off the huggers. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
no, you're right. Shayna says so many don't even, match with the party they identify with. If you don't react and just ask clarification, the conversation can raise enough to be questioned by them behind closed doors. In the moment, people just want to win. Yeah, it's everything is an argument or a debate instead of just a
It's
healthy
not about winning. It's
conversation.
just a conversation. It's
No,
just
I mean,
information,
a
right?
lot of people,
Right.
it is. Everything has now become a debate.
Right.
I'm
wrong. You're right.
The odd thing is we forgot that if that's your opinion, it's your opinion.
Right. And your opinion is what matters to
Right.
you.
Right.
Just don't force it on me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, and that's what's important. I mean,
You
I
share it
love
with me.
listening to
Don't
people that
force
have a
it.
different view of me.
Yeah.
And when they give me crap or they start complaining about their life, I said, hey,
Yeah.
your choices. We make choices every day. You choose to believe what you believe. You choose to do what you do. You choose not to do what you don't do.
Yeah.
That's your choice. But don't complain if what you're doing is not working for you and you're not wanting to change it.
I think
Don't blame me.
I think there's a lot of good things that have come out of the 2020 pandemic and the lockdowns and things like that. Just some changes and things I think are wonderful. I think a lot of people think they're wonderful too. At the same time, and I know we've got about 5 or 6 minutes. At the same time, you have to be very careful because that is a sense of torture. How do you break the spirit of an individual? You first take away everything. You give them back a little. Then you take away more. You give them back a little, and then you take away everything. Right. So as a society, as a free society, we have to be very careful with that warming of the water or that boiling of the water, because if we continue to allow things to happen that way,
right,
then all of a sudden, a lot of our freedoms or the things that we are very grateful for could be taken away.
Yeah, I think it's Deke, well said, Deke. I think one of the challenges we face is that there are a lot of people in our country that don't recognize what you just said because they don't appreciate the freedoms because most people don't know any different, right? You don't know any different. How can you appreciate it if you don't have anything to compare it to?
Right.
Until it's taken away. And that's where the gratitude comes in that Shayna mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I think you would think it would be so easy. I find myself all the time being, I don't want to say a negative Nelly, but it's like I wake up, I got all this going on. Yeah, but I also got all this going on.
Yeah.
And
which side of the coin?
Which side of the coin are you looking at, right? And I get it. I do get it. I mean, it's tough, but if you can just literally people, hey, how's it going? It's great. You hear some of the old people, I'm on the right side of the dirt this morning, in a negative, one in kind of way, it's kind of a, shitty comment, or the one I hate to hear those, living the dream.
Yeah. How many times I've
That's
heard that
the shittiest comment. Oh my God.
Already.
To me, that's a
people
fuck you
say
comment.
That. People say that, and I say, well, so long as it's not a nightmare, I guess you're doing
or
all
a wet
right.
one.
So,
right. But I mean, when people say that, to me, it's like it's a go fuck you. How's things going? Living the dream. It's like, all right, well,
good evening, Gary.
What's
by
the
the way,
dream?
tail
Hey,
end.
Gary,
right?
welcome back.
Yeah. What's the dream?
Are aware of the VAE? What's that? A necessity report to monitor adverse vaccine reactions. I don't know what VAERS means. I don't.
Well, perhaps you're just not one who's not aware of the VAERS.
Yeah, Gary's in Singapore.
Yeah, he's all the way in Singapore. So I think the interesting
It's the vaccine adverse something report
Emergency response
system. So
that place must be blown up.
Anyway, that's a whole different. We can talk about that.
That's another week.
Gary's in Singapore.
Oh,
right.
which?
So I think the interesting thing is, when it comes to America, and what a great nation we are, and I will, we are absolutely the best nation in the world. And there's a lot of people who live in America have never lived anywhere else. Their ancestors were born in America. I mean, they're Americans through and through. How now a lot of people hate America, and a lot of times I'm just like, well, where would you rather be? Right now,
well, they'd rather be anywhere here, but they don't know what the other places are like.
But you don't see a lot of people getting on boats, risking their lives to leave the United States to go somewhere else.
Well, that's true. But and a lot of the people who love America will always argue the Constitution, something that was written how many 200 years ago, whatever the case was. I have no idea. And a lot of the people who defend that have never read it.
Right.
A lot of people who try to tear it down have never read it.
We have a dandy pocket Constitution right here at the station.
Holy cow!
We always have it, and we got that basically because it looks like our good friend Glenn Smith.
It does. Glenn Smith looks so much like George Washington. Who knew?
That's funny.
So the interesting thing is somewhere along the line, the lines have been blurred to you're a human being. Let me just love you for being a human being. You don't have to be the same as me. We don't have to have the same background. We don't have to do this. But I can't love you because now you're this or that or this.
Right. You're not. Right. Yeah. You're looking at them for what they believe, not that they're just a human. Right.
What they are, not who they are.
Right. Correct. Not right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and that's if we could just just have people look at people for who they are, what they are. So looks like we're coming up to the end of the hour here, guys. Appreciate everyone stopping in today with us and enjoying us here on the grounds with my good buddy Ted Jones and Peter Golf. Get caught in the net, 216 the net. We have shows every day all week. Yep. Yeah, leaving for Vegas on Sunday. I know some people think I'm crazy. No, I will not be here next Friday. I am going to the mountains to enjoy myself with my family. So I'm giving you the good news that I'm getting out of here and kind of reconnect. We're actually going down for a trade show.
Hey, stick around. In a half hour, Bridging Civil Tension will be here. Right after that, the Success Journey podcast. And then at noon, we've got the Dream Home Experts. At 1 o'clock, the Neighborhood Pulse. It's a busy Friday, but stick around. Here at 216 Net. Love you all. Thank you so much. And here's the one thing that I hope never changes that have come about through this pandemic is that you guys keep tuning in. We are so humbled, so grateful that you hang out with 216 Net. You don't know just how truly humbled and blessed we are. So thank you.
Yes, guys. Have a wonderful week. We love you all. Go out, hug, meet your neighbor. At least say hi. Even if he's in a robe with a gun.
Just got by from the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that